It is known by many names: liquid gold, sacred fat, or as we know it, ghee. I still remember a few decades ago my nanny putting ghee in each and everything she was cooking, and me trying to school her about the disadvantages of ghee. But just a few months back, when my father got detected with diabetes, the diabetologist said that add generous dollops of ghee in his diet. How did that happen? How did ghee achieve the highest of highs, then went to the lowest of lows, and now is on a resurgence of sorts? Today, we'll tell you the fascinating journey ghee has had throughout history. Our journey begins in the northeast regions of present India, back in 2000 BCE. Having a colder climate than the rest of the subcontinent, the indigenous population here was mostly pastoral in nature. Unable to farm, they moved from place to place foraging for food, and they stored everything excess in animal skin pouches. Having the habit of carrying milk in skin pouches while moving from one place to another, here, through this journey while being churned, the most primitive form of ghee, butter, was formed. Ghee, at its most basic levels, is a form of butter. And here's the funny thing about butter: across the world, every civilization accidentally invented butter. It's actually an universal food right from the advent of human civilization. If they consume milk, they would start using some form of butter eventually. Now here's the issue. In Indian subcontinent, butter would go bad very quickly. If you made it in the morning, it would go bad by evening due to its natural chemicals and moisture, and the lack of preservatives thereof. Hence, it could not be stored. It would take 400 years for people to experiment and tinker with the production methods of butter to finally create ghee. Created from slowly boiling milk that first destroys all the casein and lactose, products which are mainly responsible for getting butter spoiled. Ghee, if pure and stored properly, had no expiry date. In fact, even today people believe that older the ghee is, the better it is. And this long lasting form of ghee started spreading throughout the Indian subcontinent. The earliest mentions of ghee in literature came from Vedas, calling ghee the most essential of all foods. There are prayers in Rig Veda and Atharva Veda seeking that may God provide us with so much of ghee that our houses are always full of this nutritious food. Atharva Veda says that Gritasya Dharmariten Samrita, which means stream of ghee is full of elixir. Furthermore, in various other places throughout Vedas, ghee has been mentioned as Nirdosh food, which means flawless foods, which can increase the body's vigor and vitality. It further gets mentioned in Ayurveda, which calls it a virtual panacea. It was primarily used for people suffering from Vata dosha due to its grounding, nourishing, and lubricating qualities. Following that, throughout the ages, we can find mentions of ghee everywhere, from ancient Dravidians to the court of Mughals. Ghee had become synonymous with Indian food. Staple diet would change from region to region, from temperature to climate, from attitudes to behaviors. But ghee was common to everyone. It was like the universal equalizer, as you could find it in every kitchen. Even the advent of Britishers and the independence from it could not change its ardor. Grandmothers used to send bottles of ghee to their grandchildren who were studying away from home, packing lots of good wishes and health in them. Ghee had remained constant while the world around it changed. But then 1970s happened. That year marked the sudden shift of food habits all over the world. Before 1970s, people believed in low carb dieting, in fat rich foods, and in homemade unrefined solutions. But After 1971, research after research came in which showed the effects saturated fats had on cardiac health. Fat slowly and gradually became the boogeyman, responsible for increasing cases of heart attacks and worsening obesity. And with the advent of refined vegetable oils that boasted about having minimal saturated fat, all traditional butters started taking a hit. Especially in India, ghee, which had 70 to 80% of saturated fat, was the primary target. Newly opened vegetable oil industries started running ad after ad pitching ghee as the grim reaper. In India, this attack was further helped by the damage done in dalda quantities. Dalda, which was the commercial supply of ghee at the time, had been accused of adultering their product. Their large-scale productions were completely against the traditional methods. So ghee was reeling under dalda's aftershocks. And the final blow was provided by refined vegetable oils. Ghee was being replaced by oil. To understand the scope of this change, I want you to imagine everywhere your mom uses oil, replace that with ghee. Yes, ghee was used that much at that time. Oil was just something that you can use for massages. But now, slowly, oil was replacing ghee. And ghee was just a product of a bygone era. By the time we came along, this status quo had become the new norm. But the research which took down this Indian giant was soon to be the savior too. New technologies and discoveries made so that fats and their roles in human body could be deeply understood. And as they used this new technology to study ghee, they found something amazing. Yes, ghee did have saturated fat, but it had SCFA in it, which means short chain fatty acid, which does not need to be broken down in the small intestine, which means ghee can be directly used by the body to create energy. Furthermore, due to the type of saturated fat present in ghee, it is not fattening, but actually helps to cut the stubborn fat in certain parts of your body, specifically due to being the highest known source of CLA, which has been seen to mobilize the fat cells to shrink down to the original size. It was also seen to lower the glycemic index of food. Foods that have a high glycemic index tend to quickly get into your bloodstream at a very high dose. Ghee causes slow and steady assimilation of food. That means the food reaches your blood steadily and not as a huge lump sum dose. For people suffering from diabetes who have a sudden burst of blood sugars after eating, this was a lifesaver. So instead of making you obese, ghee was actually helping you lose weight, that too naturally. And ghee was helpful in diabetes. With these discoveries, ghee suddenly became used and prescribed for everything in the Western world. If you would believe, as they were putting oil on our shelves, they were replacing theirs with ghee. Especially with the advent of keto diet, where ghee was seen to have a satiating effect while combining well with all food profiles. Ghee was soon to become a super drug. And this is where we stand today. Just like thousands and thousands of well-known Indian remedies that were abandoned due to Western science and then adopted by the very Western science, ghee, once blacklisted and crucified, now has become the buzzword for a good, healthy living. So, as I leave you today, I really hope that you have a ghee-filled life. Thank you for watching this video and I hope you have a good day.